Hey guys, 29th of May here. Last couple of videos I've had fellas ask me about some stuff that was sitting here on the layout, and I thought I'd give them a quick answer to their question. The Rinctum with all the pulleys on it is a Whedon line shaft used with their steam engines, and then they could hook them up to their steam toys. And while I've got a steam engine, which is a pre-war electric steam engine, I've never filled it with water and tried it yet. And I use Tinker Toy electric motors, or the clockwork motor that Tinker Toy made for places that didn't have electricity back in the day. Usually the electric motor, you'll always have to replace the cord. All that stuff peels off. But this is basically what it does. Makes a lot of noise. And believe me, after I've heard this thing do this for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, I'm looking for a gun so I can end my misery. I find it to be most annoying. It was kind of cute at first, not so much after a while. So that's what that's for. It's just a line shaft so that you can hook various toys. Sometimes you have little workers. That happens to be a buzzsaw, and the only reason the caterpillar sitting there is just weight to make sure that there's enough tension on the spring so it will turn. And then we've got the mills. I don't know if you can see them or not. Stamp. So that's what that's stuff for. Let's turn it off because it's killing me. The other thing somebody was asking me about these, they said, well, that looks like an O-gauge motor that you've made into standard gauge. Well, it is. It's an Alco motor, O-gauge. And what I've done is I've extended the axles on it. This is what it looks like. This one has a lot of problems. If you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it in there or not. I can see it, but the axle holes are egg-shaped. They don't use bearings on these. So what I did was I take them, those are the cheap motors, and I mount bearings on them. I drill that out, and then I drive standard gauge bearings into it. They use a 3/16 axle, and what you're looking at there is the wheel that I cut down, because you got to have a gear, and the wheel and the gear are all part of the same casting. Here's what it would look like here. There's your wheels with your gears. I chuck those up in my lathe, and I turn off the I turn down the flange. Then I take and I drill it, and I thread it and make a set screw so that I can set that to the axle, as you can see right there. That way I can control the mash, and then I either press on die-cast wheels, or I take template wheels and I mount them up in a fixture, and I put an axle collet on the back side, and I solder it to the back of the template wheel. Then what I do is I put it in my handheld electric drill, and I spin it real fast to see if there's very much wobble to it. Because the template wheels aren't as cylindrical as you might think they are. So a little wobble is acceptable. A lot of wobble is not. If I use the bigger wheels, because of the way this Alco is made, like I told you before, the flange is set up above the base of the motor, so then I have to use a spacer. But the template wheels, not so much. In fact, Sing motor. This is a nice passenger car that I did. That's an Alco motor. And I used, those are American Flyer template wheels. With that, like I say, with axle collets on the back side. And I just, and a set screw. And I just set that down there, and I set the gauge. And it's ready to rock and roll. So I hope that has answered a few of your questions. It's not overly difficult after you've spent a couple $100 and done it a couple of times. It can be real expensive to start off with. Easy to mess things up. So that's what we got. Like I say, it's just a line shaft for stationary steam toys, and O-gauge Alco motors, which are cheap. You can buy a Lionel Alco anywhere from, depending on if somebody thinks it's special, I've paid as little as $15 for it, and I've paid as much as $30. I will tell you this, the ones that have magnet traction, that's your better motor. It's got 2 regular bearings in the front, and then it's got the magnet traction axle in the back, which is a bigger hole. But lo and behold, the standard gauge bearings, you can press them right into that hole. Makes it absolutely perfect. This I'll set up in my drill press, and I'll drill it as correctly as I can on both sides, and then I'll put those bearings in like I did on this one, and that is soldered in. And you got to make sure that you take the blackening off the frame, because your solder will not stick to the oxidized black metal. It ain't gonna happen. You can't get it hot enough. So, but once you got it all set up, check it out, ream it just a little bit. Absolutely perfect. All right, guys. Hope that answered some questions. Toodaloo.